Hola.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone. I said, let's go live. Let's go live. We're going live on The Kim Jacobs Show. So excited to be here with you all today and looking very much forward to a great episode. We have with us today Samantha Benson. How are you, Samantha?
I'm doing fantastic. Kim, how are you today on this beautiful winter day?
I'm doing great. Now, some of you all may be watching this in the spring, summer, who knows what season it is, but here today is winter time. And so we are enjoying some cold weather, but also enjoying the fact that it's still nice and sunny. We're both in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, just for those that are tuning in. And what I want you all to do is go ahead and grab your virtual seats and share the broadcast. Let people know that you are tuned in today to the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. And so as we do this, today we're going to be talking about a very necessary topic. Samantha, if you would like to share with people what they can expect within this hour that we're going to be spending together. So just a brief synopsis of what we can expect.
Essential and fundamental life solutions for individuals and businesses.
Okay.
That's a quick synopsis.
Yeah. And you're going to get to hear this mastermind who has all of this information to share, some of her backstory as well, because you don't just become these things, like these experts in these areas. You've had to experience some things yourself in order to be passionate about these areas. So I'm excited. Samantha Benson, she's the CEO of Get Insured Solutions, LLC. She also specializes in final expense insurance, final life expense insurance, and then also now this employee retention credit program for self-employed individuals. So I am super excited. She's a mom and she is definitely an entrepreneur and a woman on a mission. So I'm really glad to have you here today on the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
So appreciate it.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to get a chance to hear from Samantha Benson, her backstory. We'll be right back.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everyone, we're back here on the Kim Jacobs Show, and Samantha Benson, our guest today, will talk about some of her personal journey. So talk to us, Samantha, about where you've been. Who are you? Where'd you come from? Talk to us.
Oh, and Kim always puts me on the spot. I love to share about others and hardly ever love to talk about myself. So it's always a challenge for me when you ask me this every time I come on, but I appreciate it. Who am I? I am Samantha Benson. A little bit about me. I'm a native New Yorker via of my parents. My father is originally from Puerto Rico. My mother is originally from South Carolina. So I'm a mixture of all the good things in life, right? And I have my background is financial management. That's what I went and I studied at Clemson University for.
Okay.
And I have two beautiful children. My son will soon be 28 years old, Kim, on Thursday.
That is unbelievable, right? That makes us feel so old.
No, not me. That makes him feel old.
Right. Yeah,
You
I
see,
don't feel like
weird.
we're aging. I feel like, they're getting older, but I can't believe they're getting that old with us being looking
Yeah,
like we look.
yeah, yeah. We look gorgeous. We're
Yeah.
rocking it. Yeah,
Okay.
and so two beautiful children. My son Cameron Mays, he's in the Alexandria, Virginia area, and my beautiful daughter, who's 24, is here in the Charlotte, Mecklenburg area with me. And I like to keep it real. That was actually this December, so I didn't want to do no professional photos. We are real life. I'm a real life person, so and I relate to us because we just want to keep it real. So that was Christmas time.
And his name's Cameron.
His name is Cameron.
Cameron and Taylor. I know Taylor very well, but okay, Cameron and Taylor. So go ahead.
Oh, I am a forever solutionist. So coming out of the financial realm, even when I was in the financial realm, my clientele always knew me as finding solutions to their financial needs. I left the financial industry in the banking realm in 2003, and I set out to create my own consulting business. And you now know it as Get Insured Solutions. Uh, I did a lot of B2B. I did a lot of contracting to the federal government, always with the mindset of finding solutions for us as everyday folks and taxpayers. Okay. So I did a lot of that when I was in the federal government. And then I branched into, always had a somewhat of a background in the insurance. In my early years, it was more in commercial
Okay.
insurance industry. But I really found something that is just so profound and dear to my heart, which is funeral funding made simple with advocacy.
Okay. So now before you go further, I want to make sure, because I know we're going to talk a lot about funeral advocacy and we're going to talk about ERC, but I wanted to also just learn more about you and some of your personal journey before we go down those roads.
Thank you. Keep me on track, Kim.
Because I know that you're a woman that's against all odds. You've continued to be resilient and come back and just still pick up and make a difference and an impact in this world. So I really want people to hear a little bit about you personally before we go into some of the business aspects, because the business aspects are a blessing too, tremendously.
Sure. Life happens, whether we want it to or not. And it's about your mindset and how you're going to be an overcomer and not a victim of life.
That's right.
Through a very early age, and again, we're kind of going backwards to come to the forefront. My father died when I was 19, just before I was 20 years old. And I didn't know anything about that. And I wound up having, this is life experiences, a grand mal seizure at the age of 19 from the
You had a
of his
grandma?
death.
You did? See, I
I
didn't
did.
know that.
I did. And I don't have epilepsy. Thank you, Lord.
Hmm.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Then after that, my oldest sister, who was 13 years older than me, died 2 years after our father. And then that really, really, really took me when my dad died and I had the seizure, I went into a depression. When my sister was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, like 1991, like November, it was stage 4. She died just a few short months after that. And I was determined not to be in a depression like when my father died. So I exercised
Okay.
to relieve my stress. And my sister said, you're losing too much weight.
Hmm.
I sought counseling at Clemson, grief counseling.
Wow.
I was grateful they offered that to the students because I did not want to fall back into that depression, but I had no one to talk to because in our families, whether you're black, white, brown, whatever, we don't talk about death. It's always hush, pushed under the rug
Right.
like an ostrich. So I didn't know how to cope. Then my mother was grieving the death of my father, and my sister, which was her firstborn that she had she had my sister when she was like 16 years old,
Okay.
which onset her cancer. So her colon cancer, she was in remission, but it brought it back full force. And my mother died 4 months after my 24th birthday.
Hmm.
So sharing all of some backstory with, your audience is just being about transparency and your mindset of you've got to work through it because you don't ever get over it.
Right.
Okay. Then, my grandmother's death, I went through a divorce at the age of 33, 3 days before my 33rd birthday. And my grandmother died at the end of that same year.
Hmm.
So it is about overcoming, never giving up on yourself. And I had 2 children. I was also raising my niece at the time, who I had legal custody of. So it's about getting back up as a woman. It's about getting back up as a person because men go through the same things as women do also. So I don't want to just make this just about the women, but I am sharing about what women go through. And so I just have this DNA that is embedded in me,
Right.
not just to be a survivor, because being a survivor is just barely living. I didn't want to just barely live. I want to thrive. And so I've just had the DNA in me to it's like osmosis or water to a sponge.
Yeah.
To find solutions to help me get back up so that being on your show today, whatever I'm saying is reaching your audience in some way, somebody, if it's just one person with the solutions that God has given me to help, everybody from
That's
personal
really,
to business.
yeah, this is really good information to have us be able to glean and learn from you because you've experienced some significant people in your life that have transitioned from this earth. And so, first of all, no matter how long it's been, you still have my deepest condolences because I know that when someone that important to you and valued by you transitions, it's not something that you ever just get over and move on type of thing. It's not that kind of situation. And only people that get it, if that makes sense. It's just you only get it if you get it. What advice would you give to people that have experienced loss of a loved one due to cancer, loss of a loved one due to all different types of situations in your experience? What advice would you give them to encourage them and to keep hope in the midst of all of the tragedy?
Feel every emotion that you're feeling. Don't suppress it because the body has a way of internalizing it and it's going to show up in some fashion or form or shape. And most likely it's going to show up in your health.
Mm.
Okay. When and you use the term transition. Often we use the term transition to kind of ease the pain. we've got to just say, it's death.
Yeah, it's death.
It's death.
My son died. So it's just, I may use the word one time here and then another time saying Gabe
Right.
passed away. He died suddenly,
Right.
unexpectedly. So it's not a sugarcoat. It's just
Right.
a word that
It's not a sugarcoat, but that word,
he's gone from this earth. That's the point.
yeah, because I use that term to ease so I wouldn't feel every emotion in my fiber, the transition. But when, as I got into this industry of what we're going to go into on final expense and the funeral advocacy, when I start acknowledging, right? Because even though my sister, my dad, my mother, my grandmother died early on, I still could not say death. It was something about that word that was like finite. It was final. And as long as I didn't say they died or use transitional words like transition, like, okay, they transition, they just moved from one location to across the street. I was suppressing everything that I wasn't allowing myself to heal. Am I making sense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I never thought about it like that, but that's interesting to
yeah,
hear from your perspective that's what was happening. So that's
because when I began to use the word, they died, or death occurs when I'm speaking to people that I'm putting in benefits and who have experienced it or who have not yet experienced it.
right.
Because there's 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
And they can come at any given time. It's been over 30 years since my sister died at the age, and she was 34 years young. But when I started really just using the word death, she died, instead of the transition, I just began to release every suppression, every emotion, not to think about it, the pain, the grief, the denial. And again, there's just 5 different stages: denial, anger. Why did she have to die so early? We were 13 years apart, but she was my best friend. We really were like really tight to be that distance in age. And you know something, Kim?
What?
Last year, when I went through my divorce in 2003, I took every single picture of my family down.
And why was that? Why did you do that?
As I reflect back, divorce is a death. And I was so angry, literally suppressing my anger, like, God, you took everybody that I cared about, loved on away from me. And I just took every family photo down. The only photos that I had in my house up for a very long time was just myself, my son, my daughter, and my niece, but nobody else. Last year, before we came into 2024, I got my sister's picture and my parents' picture, and I have it right beside me at my desk. Mm-hmm. I haven't had those pictures out in 30 years.
Wow. And what did it do for you to put those pictures, bring them back into the mix?
Well, when my daughter came home and my son, they were in awe. They could not believe I had the pictures out, and it was, for me, it was a celebration. It's a celebration. I didn't want to have those pictures, on the wall because of the pain I felt, right, the loss that I felt. But now I can look at my sister's picture, and I have one picture of us together when I was 18. We didn't have a lot of family photos. But I can smile, I can celebrate them, and I can say, you know what? Even though your physical being is not here, you are here with me every single day, and I can acknowledge you and I can celebrate you. I can talk to my children about my parents because I never talked about my childhood. So my children never saw their grandfather, never got to meet my mother, never got to meet their auntie.
Mm.
So, and my son brought that to my attention. I think probably either his senior year or of high school or freshman year of college. He was like, "You never talk about your side of the family." It was that painful for me.
And so you weren't depriving them of the opportunity to hear about that side of the family. It was actually you safeguarding yourself because of the level of turmoil
Yes,
and
yes,
yeah, wow. That's
yes,
I mean, this is really a great conversation because there are so many people that probably are watching here that we also stream in like 100 countries and 350 million households with CTR Media Network. So there are a lot of people that are going to hear this story and how important it is to determine how you're going to deal with your own grief, even though that's not even the topic today. But this is I didn't even know that was your backstory, all of this level of grief that you've had to experience. So this is very helpful. Thank you so much for sharing your backstory in that
you're
regard.
welcome.
Now, I also know that as I've gotten to know you, we know each other through like eWomen Network and through getting connected through some entrepreneurial things. But I know that you've experienced some situations since I've known you that I
Yeah,
thought that alone could really take somebody out, just mentally, physically, emotionally. So can you talk about that piece of your backstory a little bit too? Because that leads into some of the
absolutely.
other stuff we're going to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Life is such a journey. So let's speed up to just a few years ago. We've known each other coming this year for 7 years. It's incredible
It
and
really is.
very incredible. And you've just been a blessing to my life and so many facets of my life.
Mhm.
So a few years ago, I was, and I can't really get into a lot of detail because
Oh no, I know, I understand.
I actually
Keep it
go
surface. Keep it
to
surface.
trial next month. But uh, three multiple car accidents within 2 years. First one actually totaled my vehicle and so forth and knocked me unconscious. And just the the physical and the mental, and then having the multiple concussions back to back to back. And when you are able bodied and you're functioning on a daily basis,
Right.
we take things for such for granted. We just for granted. Um, Having in the midst of that of the car incidences, and someone told me a few years ago, stop saying accidents. Like, be very conscious of what you're saying. Like, oh, my car accident. Oh, my this. Oh, my that. No, it was an incident. And that incident occurred and the incident has passed, but stop bringing that back to the present.
Hmm. I never thought about it like that. I don't think it's any right or wrong way to do it, but
No, there's no right or wrong way. However, when you keep owning what happened to you,
right. I understand that philosophy because power of life and death is in our tongue. So if we keep
exactly.
saying that this is what my situation is, my state of mind is, this is what I'm professing, then
Yeah, yeah,
that's what's going
exactly.
to be embedded in our spirits. So that's good. Very good.
Exactly. And you know, um, the whole world and all of creation lives on a vibration. I mean, you're at your location, I'm at my location, and we're speaking through the airwaves. So, right, we are.
Oh yeah,
We're speaking through the airwaves. It's like this is invisible. We can't even, imagine us talking at a distance, let alone but when the
right.
telephone was created. So when that person said that to me, it was an incident. Stop saying my car accident, my broken bone, my this, my that, because it still keeps that synergy, that energy, and it keeps you in a place of being held up, just like when I couldn't say death and I said transition. But when I began to say death, tears began to release and fall that I couldn't eat, like just this release. It was incredible. But the car incidences that happened, it was a mental state. And I was in seminary school at the time. I had just started seminary school. So, and running, my business is,
That's good.
it was, I can't even describe, except that I had people like yourself, Kim,
Mhm.
who checked in on me, which is so vital in this day and age. When somebody crosses your mind, pick up the phone, send a text message. I'm thinking about you. Everything is okay. And when you can, just to have a listening ear, because sometimes you just need a release.
That's
And
good.
so, you know, um, and
But you
again,
survived. You survived is the point. You survived multiple car accidents. Not everybody on the
yes,
first accident get the opportunity to actually live to tell about it. And in my opinion, I'm big on believing that whether a person lived or died, it depends. I guess it depends upon whatever everybody's different beliefs are. But for me, if I live or if I die, I'm still a winner. So it doesn't I don't look at it like I've lost if I passed away or if because I just believe wholeheartedly that when I do pass away, I know where I'm going. And so I am transitioning. I'm transitioning to heaven. And so that's just what I personally believe. So I'm grateful that you are here still on this earth to tell your story and to now go into some of this business piece that we're going to talk about on the second half. Okay.
can I share something real quick?
Yes.
From my people think death is scary, right? And I think the media, movies have a lot to do with it. It's my personal opinion. Don't write me, but I can have a personal opinion,
Don't
right?
worry, we will put the views. The person was looking for it back there, so I went ahead and put it up. The views expressed are that of us
But
as individuals. Even what I express is of individuals, not
right.
necessarily that of
But I can say, because I know who I am and who I belong to, which is, my Heavenly Father, in heaven. And whether you have religion or you're no religion or whatever, death is nothing to fear, because this is a shell. Death is nothing to fear because we live in a shell. And I watched my sister, when she died, take her last breath, and it was, I could actually see without seeing her spirit rise when her body deflated. And I believe that was one of the things that has made me as strong as I am, because of the faith that I have in the Lord. And not to go into a whole bunch of scripture, but when God created everything, He spoke it. He spoke life into it.
yes.
So this is just a temporary house. And so that's why I don't fear death. Even though I've had those incidents occur, not one time did I ever feel that I feared death.
Well, that's good. This is some good conversation we're having with this entrepreneur, owner of Get Insured LLC. This woman is a force to be reckoned with. Let me go back and recognize our episode sponsor, drjod.com, drjod.com. You want to definitely stay connected with her. The Healthopedia event is coming up in Florida, and that's happening very soon. So if you have questions, reach out to her at 800 820 and should have got my glasses. 820. Let me go back. 800-820-0584. Again, that's 800-820-0584. It's in a nice retreat facility where you're going to get healthy eating, yoga, and all kinds of information for Healthopedia, which is this new, almost like health encyclopedia. A lot of the speakers will be in attendance at this conference, so your life will be changed. Thank you so much, Dr. Jody, for being one of our episode sponsors. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back to hear more from Samantha Benson, CEO of Life Insurance Specialist and CEO of Get Insured Solutions, LLC. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to play that again and see what's going on, but we're going to play it one more time. Mackenzie, go ahead and play it one more time. It glitched some kind of way. I'll play it on my end. All right, everybody. Look, we will not have our episode sponsor videos glitch for any reason. Okay, listen. Today's episode is also sponsored by vproducts.store. Whatever's happening in that coffee, people absolutely love it. They call, rave about it. And I know one of the coffees has 6 different mushroom infused in it. So definitely let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. But it's vproducts.store if you like a coffee thing. That'll get you going over there. Okay, that got you. All right, everybody. So we're back talking with Samantha Benson. And Samantha, I see people saying good morning. Good morning to you all in the virtual studio audience. Thank you so much. Good morning. And you look beautiful, ladies. They said, okay, great job. Thank you so much. You have a beautiful family. Yes, the pictures were great. And beautiful son and daughter. You guys have the same daughter's name. Yeah, Taylor is her daughter and Jayla is mine. Yes. Okay. All right. So Samantha, talk to us. And which area do we want to focus on first? Final life expense. Let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, let's talk about funeral funding.
Okay.
Okay. And then it's going to tie into our next topic.
Okay.
When I hear people say, I have life insurance on my job. Well, I want to start there because this morning I just read another article that, and I can send that to you later, that Bank of America is laying off a lot of employees just before they're due their bonus money. Okay. So let's just talk about the insurance sector of that, because the majority of individuals across the country, all 50 states, and possibly the territory of Puerto Rico, people think they're good to go because they have life insurance on the job.
Right.
Well, you do not own that life insurance that you're paying into on the job. And yes, it may have been a $250,000 life insurance policy, but it is what is called a group term policy. The company has met tax write-offs on that. They benefit the most. Now, what are these individuals going to do now that the company is laying off another wave of people just before they were even supposed to get their bonuses. And as I read, when that occurs this Friday, they're not going to get the bonus money from all the works that they put in 2023. Yes, they will get a severance pay, but it's my personal belief, if employees are working, they should, and they have benefited and helped the company, they should get their bonuses.
So this is hearsay from somebody that told you this, or is this something from?
Oh no, I read that article this morning.
Oh, okay. So this is actually an actual article that's out. Right?
It is an actual article. And I just referenced Bank of America as one of the major companies. There were so many companies last year that downsized, if you want to use that phrase, their employees, because ultimately it's about corporations, keeping their stockholders happy. And I know I'm stepping on toes, and I'm stepping on toes on purpose. Okay. This is one of the reasons that I left the corporate industry, because I did not want anyone to own my life or my children's life or my family's life, right? But life insurance on a job normally pays out 2%. That means that individuals who have life insurance on the job, they have had a death related due to that job, right? And so therefore it would pay out. Not just when you move from one job to another job sector, it may be in the same field. For instance, my cousin back in 2022 was an RN, right? She left one hospital to go work for another hospital. Your life insurance on the job does not follow you from point A to point B.
That's very important to know, because I didn't know that until you're saying that right now. So I don't know if you in the virtual studio audience knew that your company, you're saying that your company coverage stays with the company. It doesn't go with you. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay. And let me go back before you go further, because I don't want to go too far from this Bank of America comment. And I did find that on different articles. There's quite a few of them that are released today. This one comes from Bank of America rolls out investment bank cuts amid tough times for deal making 2024. And this is fnlondon.com article. But Bank of America has started a round of job cuts within its investment bank as Wall Street banks cut back on deal makers amid declining fees. And it's talking about, I'm skipping down, but it's scheduled to communicate the bonuses that you referenced to employees, and they give the date. I'm not going to too much timestamp this show because it'll be replayed, but they stood alone in avoiding deep job cuts, even as their rival Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley have stripped out more than 10,000 roles collectively over multiple rounds of redundancies last year. So it's a lot to the article. I'll put the article here if anybody wants to read it. But
and
thank you.
It's a lot to the article, but that's just not it. You've got to look at last year, major banks, and I'm just using the banking industry because I came from the banking industry years ago. But I mean, there are other companies out there who have last year alone, look at all the banks who are closing branches all across the country.
That's right.
Okay. What about all these individual families? That's their livelihood. So their insurance, their life insurance is attached to that company. Right. Now let's look at if a person who has been with a company for 20 years, right? 15 years, 10 years, whatever. Not all companies let you take the life insurance with them. And those that do, right, it is still attached to a group term life insurance, because a group term life insurance, Kim, whether the company has to have 100% participation to offer that. Okay. Some companies, every single employee has to enroll in that every year. So, and then some instances, they don't have it where it has to be 100% participation. That means the company pays a portion and the employee pays a portion. So I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty details of that.
Right.
But when a person who works for a company does allow them to take the group term policy, you're not paying that small premium like you were paying when you were at the company. That is a term life insurance, and it is going to go up. And it is only going to last normally till around age 65. So, right? So the insurance policy premium is going to rise because it was a group term. They may allow you to have taken it with you. The premium is going to go up and the death benefit is going to go down.
Okay. So now talk to us from the perspective of what this has to do with the final life expense.
Okay. So final expense life insurance. Okay. So yes, I do offer different types of coverages, but final expense is what I'm very much known for in the industry, on your show and across the nation, because we help families across the nation with final expense, permanent whole life. That is a foundation of protecting all other life insurances that you may have. Even if you don't have life insurance, it still is very vital, because when death does occur, it's not if and when, death is going to occur at some point. We all know our birth date, but none of us know our death date. And none of us know if we're going to die accidentally in a car crash, a plane crash, or whatever, or a natural death. And a natural death is dying in your sleep, dying of cancer, dying of an aneurysm, things like that. That's a natural death. Final expense permanent whole life protects the expenses. And I hear people often say, well, Samantha, I've got all my funeral arrangements taken care of. And I ask, well, you do? What do you have taken care of?
Right.
Oh, yeah. I got the burial plot. Okay. You got the burial plot. Oh, yeah. Everything's taken care of. My family don't have to worry about anything. Well, that's not the funeral home. Okay. And when you own your own private life insurance, right? It's an investment. So a lot of individuals think that life insurance is always associated with death. It is called life, not death. It's not burial. It's not so forth and so on. It's life, because when you learn how to utilize life insurance while you are alive, it can be tax-free income. Okay, that's big
solution. Like this. Love insurance. I love it.
Right. So final expense life insurance is love insurance, because it protects all of the other insurances that you may have. Right. Now, if someone comes to me and doesn't have any kind of life insurance coverage, this is a permanent whole life, and because I'm an insurance specialist, not a general agent, and I'm not knocking general agents out there, but they cannot do what I do, and also the agent partners that I hire across the country. We are specialists because we're able to qualify individuals from newborn to 85 years old in this coverage, whether you have no health conditions or you have health conditions.
That's right.
And I'm not talking about high blood pressure, okay? I'm talking about critical illnesses, right? Whether your aging parents have Alzheimer's, dementia, you're getting into that, they can qualify for this. Whether someone has sickle cell, you may have been in the Black community, that is a genetic blood disorder, right? Because the blood is not round. The it's like shaped like a crescent moon, which is sickle cell.
So
And
you can
so,
record. I mean, you can qualify for even with pre-existing conditions, is what I'm
yes,
hearing.
ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am. Thank
interesting.
you. So, because someone who has like sickle cell uh, disease, and they can have life insurance on the job because it's group.
Mhm.
A company needs to have maybe 100% participation, right?
Right.
But outside, privately, that individual person who has sickle cell cannot normally obtain private life insurance, but they can with me because I specialize. So I can qualify someone with sickle cell. I can qualify someone who has just had a stroke, who's in the hospital and just had a kidney or a lung transplant or a heart transplant, and even someone that has HIV, or even an individual who has a loved one that's incarcerated.
Okay, so that's a wide variety of people that can qualify to be insured, and their family members may need to reach out. Definitely need to reach out. And I want you all to
Yes.
know how you can connect with Samantha Benson. Tell them how they can connect with you for a moment, and then we're gonna play your commercial.
Yes, for the solutions for the life insurance, and we haven't even touched on the funeral advocacy.
Right.
Okay. Because the two together with the final expense and the funeral advocacy is power. That means you have leverage. But on that side, you can go directly to getinsured.solutions, and you can reach me there. And of course, you can also call in to 704-499-3616. So, Kim, I do have something that this year I am just asking your audience to participate in.
Yes, please.
Within the next 100 days, I want you to share care with your family, your friends, your coworkers, your frenemies, whoever it may be, because they need exactly what you need, this solution, because we don't want their life insurance monies to be exhausted by the funeral home owners. Yes, they do their job, they're what they're supposed to do. But when you have massive layoffs and bank closures and business closures, it is a must, it is a necessity to have the majority of your life insurance money come back to the family so you can thrive, not just survive. So I'm asking your audience today, within the next 100 days, to contact me, learn how you can qualify for these benefits. If we share and care and pay it forward, and we get 1,000 people within the next 100 days, we can do this together. We can do this together to make an impact in your community, whether you live in Alaska or whether you live in Puerto Rico, whether you're in Hawaii or you're in California, down at the tip of Florida, because we're that far reach, okay? All
Okay.
over the country.
I typed what you said within the next 100 days, but I actually challenge you all this week. This week, reach out to Samantha Benson, because the sooner you do it, the more you'll be like, "Oh, I'm so grateful I already took care of that." And she operates in a very fast manner, so it's not something that when you meet with her that it's going to take weeks and all of this stuff. If within like 24, 48 hours type of thing, this woman gets a significant quick turnaround with some answers and solutions for you and your family. So her phone number is 704-499-3616. We're going to play her quick commercial right quick, and we'll come right back and hear something about another program for self-employed individuals that you don't want to miss. We'll be right back. Wow. Proud of you, Samantha.
Thank you, Kim.
Really, yeah, really great.
Nothing says I love you more and final expense insurance whole life protection with funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, everyone, we're back. And again, today's episode is sponsored by GetInsured.Solution. We have the lovely owner right here today with us, sharing some stuff we would have never known about grief and overcoming some tragic experiences in her life to become who she is today. So 704-499-3616 is how you'll contact her and let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. All right, Samantha, talk to us about this, which I am like, I'm so excited about it because this is the employee retention credit tax program. But
I'm going to help you out.
Yeah, come on, because it's for
I'm going to help you out. It is, I have been waiting for this moment. I am such a solutionist. You know, this whole pandemic that we went through, nobody thought it was like a movie come to real life, right? Mm-hmm. And so in the business world, when things happen, it's the big business who always has a reciprocation, I want to say. Like when the government shut down back in 2013,
right?
You know, it was the big business and it was the federal employees who got their back pay paid to them, where the self-employed got nothing. And so I did have a conversation back in 2013. I was living in Northern Virginia at the time with my congressman, who is now retired. And I said, hold up, wait a minute. And people said, oh, you were on the news. And I never got to see it, but perfect strangers got me because I am a forever advocate solutionist. So I'm still playing on how I'm gonna make it like so simplistic. But a forever advocate and an forever solutionist is just who I am. And we now, this was supposed to roll out last year. So the ERC tax credit for businesses who had W-2 employees and were affected in 2020 and 2021, ERC stands for Employee Retention Tax Credit, and those businesses were able to, because of not the PPP loans that were given out. This is not a loan, this is a refund. They were able to apply for these monies to come back to those business owners who kept the country rolling and running, right? Mm-hmm. But nothing was for the self-employed. So we've got it. We've got it. It is now my affiliation and the team. We have what is different from a general tax accountant and a general CPA. We have forensic CPAs. We look to find the monies that are due to business owners. And now with the self-employed. So this is huge. So for the self-employed, it is called Families First Coronavirus Response Act and American Rescue Plan.
Okay, that's a mouthful. So
it is a mouthful. And so CPAs and tax accountants really don't stay up on this level.
Okay.
I'm not putting them down. But the acronym is FFCRA. The IRS did not do a great job doing for the ERC for the businesses during the COVID, because people thought, well, I don't think I can't qualify, whatever. Well, let me just say, I still can get businesses to input their information in to see about them qualifying, even when their CPAs have told them they can't.
Wow.
Point in case, I just got one of my clients on the insurance side who also owns a company $150,000 back approved.
And this is not,
When her
say, this is not PPP. This is a reimbursement for the actual, the employee, the companies, the employers being able to keep the world going while COVID was happening.
yes,
So this is their
yes,
thank you
it's not.
type.
It's a thank you,
Okay,
right?
very good.
It's a thank you, and so the PPP loans were put out there to help keep the business functioning and running.
Right.
PRC tax credit is a thank you back to those who had the W-2 employees. Okay, now let's come to right now, which is the Families First Coronavirus Response Act and American Rescue Plan. This is for the self-employed. So what does that mean?
Right.
That means during anyone who is self-employed and filed your 1099 taxes
Okay.
during COVID can go through through me to see about qualifying for these monies that are due to the self-employed. Okay.
That's what 1099, and that's what the 1099 employee. I mean, that's the contracted individual. So you don't have
Yes.
to have W-2 employees to
No,
qualify.
no W-2. This is self-employed.
Okay.
This is from your hairstylist who is, who owns her book of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the lawn care individual that may have hired, who has people helping him, but he pays them as a 1099 as a contractor. This is staffing companies who just hire contractors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of hiring employees.
Wow.
Okay. This so this is, for instance, anyone who has filed their taxes as a 1099 can go onto my website to see how much they can estimate to get back from this, because you can get up to $32,000 back.
But you had to have paid that out to the employee, to the contractor.
This is not employee. This is self-employed individual.
Not employee, I mean to the contracted individual.
As long as the contract is filing their taxes as a 1099,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Whether a company has a staffing company may hire somebody to perform a job, but they pay them as a 1099, they're not an employee, because a 1099 has to pay their own taxes.
No, that's not the question I'm asking. What I'm asking is, if a person does the 1099 contracted individuals as a self-employed individual, and
yes,
but is it only based on how much you've paid your 1099 contracted individuals as to what you can qualify for, or do you qualify for more than what you paid the individuals?
I understand you. The answer is, it doesn't matter what you have paid your contractors,
Okay.
because they're filing their taxes as a 1099.
Right.
Okay. So your 1099s from 2020 and 2021.
Uh-huh.
Right. So when you go into my website, which is reps.linqqs.com.
I have it up on the web right here so everyone can see, but I also put it in the comments section too. So if you go right here to the linqqs.com, all of this information is here. The details about the program, how they're dedicated, maximum funding, lightning fast results, which again, when you're dealing with Samantha, turnaround is very quick. So if you're a self-employed individual, you want to check this out, because again, this is one of our episode sponsors as well. That's why I'm kind of talking over you for a second. The numbers speak for themselves. Over 28,000 businesses have been reached, and $5 million worth of credit has been recovered already. So client testimonials are here, you name it. You're going to get some assistance from Samantha Benson, and let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. All right, go
Kim,
ahead.
click on other programs real quick.
Okay.
It's right at the top, other programs.
Mhm.
Now click on self-employed credits.
Okay.
Okay. So those are frequently answered, asked questions. And
Okay.
it's so simplistic to do a preliminary to see what you estimated you can qualify up to. So the maximum amount for the self-employed, you may be eligible to receive up to $32,220. And that may be that may be just for 2021. It varies, okay? But the return around is so quick. Who could not use right now an extra 10 to 30 something $1,000 to cushion them during these times? Whether you're and that money is due to you, because as a self-employed person, whether you're contracted out to a staffing company or the contractors that you hire, your assistants and things like that. Well, it's not only if you came down with COVID and you're self-employed, who's paying you?
That's good. A question came in too from Angela. Hey, Angela, glad to see you on. Do you still have to be self-employed? Do you still have to be self-employed in order to qualify for this back in the day?
If you filed your taxes for 2020 and 2021 and you were self-employed, I so encourage you to go onto the website and see what your estimate qualifications are. Okay?
Okay. Visit the
answers.
website, reps.linqqs.com. Visit that today, do the calculator, reach out to Samantha Benson and have a conversation, because sometimes when you go on the websites, it just doesn't answer all of your questions. So reach out to her today as well. I see you, Dr. Lotus Rashay, who came on as well, and she has a global program with multiple countries where she streams her show. She said, "The Balanced Doctor, I'm happy to see you two ladies are here in this amazing broadcast. Thank you so much for sharing it with everyone."
May I ask a question? She's overseas?
She's actually in the Washington, D.C. area, but her broadcast is in the Philippines, everywhere, just like the Kim Jacobs Show, just all over different places and different countries.
So say if she's in the Washington, D.C. area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's a prime contractor, right? She got one of the government accounts, but she subcontracts the work out to a contractor.
Right.
Whether they're working at one of the government facilities in the Washington, D.C. area, or whether that individual, she sent them over and they are a contractor, they are still filing their taxes as a 1099.
That's right.
They need to answer the questions that's in that link for the self-employed tax credit, right?
Good.
To see what the estimate of what they are due back. Because this is not a grant and this is not a loan. This is the federal government who has allocated the monies that were due back to you because you missed out on work during COVID. That means, the whole world was not streaming and Zooming, okay? And I have been a contractor in Washington, D.C., and have worked inside of the Department of Commerce. And when the government shut down in 2013, I did not get paid because my body was not in that building.
That's right.
I got no monies on the back end for the time that I missed due to our government shutting down and not balancing their budget. This is why I had a direct conversation at the time with my congressman. What about the self-employed? You are missing a whole backbone of America that keeps the America running is the self-employed. So I am just like ecstatic about, everybody who is a 1099 looking at what they're estimated of what they can get back.
That's good.
And just to have, I can breathe. I got this, and then here's the thing. Let me just kind of go back just real quick about the life
And
insurance.
then this will be the
As
wrap up because we're going to bring this whole thing to closure. So
yes,
go ahead.
two things on the life insurance, the final expense. Okay. The final expense does just what it says. It helps when you die. It's immediate expenses that is paid out within 24 hours of all necessary paperwork.
Yeah.
We have been able to pay claims within 3 hours. That funeral advocacy, we didn't even touch on that. That funeral advocacy is another layer that protects all existing life insurance and your final expenses, because when you're filing a claim with life insurance, it can take a considerable amount of time for that insurance carrier to pay that. But on my side, the final expense to handle the immediate expenses that is rolling with the death, and then that funeral advocacy, reducing the cost of your funeral and the cremation and your funeral merchandise coming from us, top of the line, wholesale, it is precedent. It adds so much value. So having meeting with me to this week, contact me, whether it's the website or through the phone. Make sure you reference the Kim Jacobs Show. Okay. Also, when you have private life insurance, when you are self-employed, it's a tax write-off. I'm about more solutions, making sure that you're paying out less and you're receiving more. That's what I wanted to say, Kim.
That's some good stuff. Listen, I mean, she's wearing two different hats here today. One is that final expense life insurance, which is getinsured.solutions. And that's where you can get more information. But if you call Samantha Benson, she'll talk to you about both entities, the actual Get Insured final life expense or final expense life insurance.
Yes.
And that's 704-499-3616. When you reach out to her, you'll be able to have that discussion regarding your loved ones and how pre-existing conditions still qualify you to be able to get coverage for them. You can't miss out on these opportunities, guys. And then if you are also interested in learning more about the employee self-employed credit repair representation, the self-employed credit, I want to say it right, self-employed credit.
Just say self-employed tax credit refund from COVID.
Self-employed tax credit refund, which I know I'm interested in personally. I may not be able to say it, but I'm definitely interested in it. If during the pandemic, during 2020 and 2021, you actually had the opportunity to be self-employed and file 1099 taxes, you may qualify for what she's talking about. You can go to the linqqs.com, because I have audio podcast listeners too. linqqs.com, and put yourself in the calculator. More importantly, just call Samantha Benson, 704-499-3616. 704-499-3616. Samantha, this has been very informative, and I can't wait for people to have a better outcome as they balance their lives dealing with these scenarios that you're talking about here today.
Yes, on both spectrums, you want, again, the life insurance to come back, because it's life. Even though you have died, your loved ones are still living. So it's always life continuation, and to be able to get the self-employed, these monies that they work so hard. As a self-employed person, we work hard and diligent to in every sector of what we do.
That's
And to have them to be able to obtain these monies and be a cushion for them, to be able to breathe. It's incredible. So thank you again, and then having that funeral advocacy piece too. Like I said, I am a forever solutionist and advocate for everyday individuals and business owners across America.
Well, thank you, Samantha, for being here today. And thank you all for tuning in today. Make sure, it says, that's funny. I didn't realize there's a typo in here. You know how you see things and you never realize it until it just stands out one day. So I've been putting that up forever. So that's why we need more donations. People like spell better and we'll donate better, right? Okay. The Kim Jacobs Show is sponsored by you. So as community members, we encourage you to pour into the Kim Jacobs Show. We come on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but our contributions come from community members and sponsors. So make sure you go to Cash App, $Kimjacobsinc, or paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc., and even Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you for being such a great guest today, informative guest. And we'll see you all again Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Mackenzie, backstage, and Cassandra, one of my other team members. God bless you all. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard